A warm welcome to you all. Thanks indeed for joining our 49th AGM of the Britain and Tanzania Society and the Tanzania Development Trust. One more year to go until we're 50, and we'll get into that a little bit more during the course of today. So thank you for joining wherever you've come from, whether the UK or Tanzania or elsewhere. Our AGM today follows a similar format to previous years. We will have an opening session where we'll hear a number of interventions from people. We will hear presentations. We'll hear a lot about what the society and the charity are doing. And then we will, towards the latter part of the meeting, we will go into our formal AGM and go through the process of that, which you as BTS members and TDT supporters are very, very welcome to join in and play a part and be active in and ask questions and so on. So we hope you will stay for the whole duration, those that can. I
Yes,
hope that everyone. Sorry,
absolutely.
Janet?
Can I
Yes,
just
please.
say welcome? So I'm the chair of Tanzania Development Trust, and you will be hearing about a lot of our work and also from some of our local representatives later. So yes, I hope you can stay and ask questions and so on. Thank you.
And to add to what Janice just said, this is an opportunity for you as members to hear not only from our guests, but also to hear from us and to ask questions and to engage with the society and with TDT, our charity. So um, the first item that I want to get stuck in on it relates to our governance, and it's the sad reality that as he was of course a great elder and I think nearly 100 years old. Um, but earlier this year we lost our president, the former president of Tanzania, the late Ali Hassan Mwinyi. So with his passing, we also lost our president as BTS. So over the last few months, we've obviously thought about this as a society, what to do, and have discussed it at the executive level. Um, and we have reached out to His Excellency Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete, former president of Tanzania, uh, to ask him whether he would step in and become the new president. I have met with him on two occasions, once in London in June, following the communications amongst our executive, and then again in New York in September, around the time of the UN General Assembly. And he's very graciously agreed to become our new president. Now, we need to affirm this at the AGM level, and so I'm wanting just to put forward that I am proposing the Honourable Jakaya Kikwete, former president of Tanzania, to be the BTS president. It is an honorary role, um, which he has accepted. Do I have a second?
Yes, on behalf of Tanzania Development Trust, I'm happy to second that.
Thank you. That's great. We were hoping to hear from Jakaya Kikwete today. Unfortunately, he's just let me know that he's on his way to the airport, on his way to New York. He travels a great deal and is unable to speak. He was hoping to give a few remarks today, but he does send his greetings to us all, and I will let him know that we have agreed that he will be the next BTS president. So this is great news, and we look forward to his engagement over time. As I said, it's more an honorary role, so the executive function is more or less as you see before, and we will talk about the executive and renewal of that executive later in the AGM today. So nonetheless, we welcome His Excellency Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete to be the new BTS president. Thank you. I would now like to, in a usual tradition, I would now like to give an opportunity to both High Commissioners to speak. We will hear first live on this call from His Excellency Mbelwa Kairuki, the Tanzanian High Commissioner to the UK. And thereafter, we will receive a video address from Her Excellency Marianne Young, the British High Commissioner to Tanzania, which she has sent me, and I will play from this call. Um, Thereafter, there will be an opportunity for some discussions, which I'm hoping a representative of the High Commissioner on the Tanzania side will be able to engage with, and hopefully we can have a few conversations before we get on to other matters. So, it is with great pleasure, a year since your first address, Mbelo Kairuki, for you now to give a few remarks. A year on, really, from being a little bit more than a year, perhaps being High Commissioner, and we look forward to hearing your news and your opinions and your perspectives. So over to you, please, Mbelwa.
Thank you very much, Paul, for inviting me to attend the 2024 BTS AGM. Dear friends, colleagues, good afternoon to you all. I'm very happy to join you this afternoon at this annual meeting. As rightly pointed out by Paul, a year ago, I had a similar opportunity to attend your AGM. And it's true, by then I had arrived in London as a new High Commissioner. I think it was less than a month. Well, fast forward, we are meeting today, the year after. And looking back, I'm very pleased that significant progress has been achieved in the UK-Tanzania bilateral relations. And indeed, BTS has made important contribution to strengthen those relations. Of course, over the past year, many events, programs, and changes have taken place, both here in the UK and in Tanzania, which to extent affected BTS. As mentioned by Paul, this year BTS lost a patron and president, late Mzee Ali Hassan Mwinyi. Mzee Mwinyi had a great deal to do with strengthening and building up the historical relations between our two countries, both during his term as president of Tanzania and after stepping down and taking on the patronage and leadership of BTS. Our sincere appreciation really goes to all of you members of BTS who joined us in the morning of his passing and who sent messages of condolences and comfort to his family. They were indeed very pleased to receive your messages, and they thank you all for your gesture. Well, what remains is to pray for his soul to rest in eternal peace. And as Paul mentioned, that we are very pleased and heartened that BTS has found a new patron and president in His Excellency Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete, the fourth president of Tanzania. We really thank him for his gracious acceptance of this mantle and its responsibilities. We are confident that he is the right person for the job because he has a stake in the success of the relations between our two countries and our people. He was pivotal in building resilient and robust bilateral relations between our two countries. First, when he was a Minister of Foreign Affairs, and later as Head of State of Tanzania. And even now, in his retirement, President Kikwete continues to play a vital role in the destinies of our nations through his various international roles. Currently, President Kikwete is leading the board of directors of the Global Partnership for Education, which receives significant financial support from the UK government. We welcome him to BTS, and we pledge our unflinching support and cooperation as he starts to discharge his new mandate at BTS. Well, my friends, this year our two countries have marked 60 years of our diplomatic relations. It has been 60 years of great transformation, 60 years of rewriting our history and redefining our relations. Our two countries, our people enjoy excellent relations. To mark this day here in London, we celebrated the occasion with a befitting reception at IMO. We were humbled by the spirit of cooperation and collaboration that BTS and its sister institution, TDT, demonstrated through their wholehearted support to the event, both through generous contributions and the turnout of its members to join us in the festivities. We truly appreciate this gesture of partnership and cooperation that ensured that event was a resounding success. As we look back over the past year, Paul reminded us that it's exactly a year plus probably 1 month since I arrived. It is encouraging to note that despite current global upheavals, the relations between our two nations remain strong and resilient. Indeed, in the past year, we have seen the resurgence of a common need for stronger partnerships, which culminated in the signing of a mutual prosperity partnership agreement in May last year between our two countries. This agreement seeks to boost economic cooperation, investment, and trade between our two countries, of course, for mutual beneficial outcomes. We have also witnessed increased cooperation with the private sector in Tanzania, where our two high commissions spearheaded the launch of the Horticulture Export Accelerator Program, which seeks to significantly increase the export and access of horticulture goods from Tanzania to the UK market. We were privileged to have Royal Highness Duchess of Edinburgh, Princess Sophie, at the launching event. That was in September this year. Well, trade between our two countries has increased significantly, reducing a decades-old trade deficit. In the past 2 years, we have seen a significant increase in exports from Tanzania to UK from 49 million pounds in 2020 to close to 200 million pounds last year. And this year, by September, we had already surpassed last year's trade volume, and we think we might do much better this year with many opportunities that the UK government has availed to Tanzania, including a developing countries trading scheme. This year, we've also witnessed increased investor interest and commitment to Tanzania. I had an opportunity to visit with the CEO of British International Investment to Tanzania. That was 2 months ago. And during that visit, he announced their commitment to invest in the telecom and the energy sector in Tanzania. And on the other hand, this year also brought about unprecedented breakthroughs in reciprocal investments in the UK with the historic posting and floating of the NMB sustainability bond, the first of its kind from Tanzania to be listed at the London Stock Exchange. So we are very happy and very optimistic that the coming year will be even more brighter. Of course, in another front, which I'm passionate with, is in the education sector. We've worked tirelessly to promote cooperation between our two countries. Our Minister for Education, Professor Mkenda, was in the UK at the invitation of the British government, and he had consultations with different stakeholders. And his main agenda was to promote vocational education cooperation, an area which the government currently has put high priority as far as international cooperation is concerned. Also here in London, we've continued to engage with different higher learning institutions, soliciting cooperation, looking for scholarships, but also establishing cooperation that would lead into research, consultancy, cooperation between different institutions. Also, the High Commission has been very proactive, promoting scholarship opportunities, encouraging many young Tanzanians to apply for Chevening, Commonwealth, Marshall, Papworth, MasterCard Foundation scholarships. We've had meetings with these agencies, and they did wonderful presentations about such opportunities that exist. But also we invited students or former students who have benefited from such scholarships to give testimonials and also guide their colleagues about how to prepare to compete. We've put a lot of effort in this because in many places where I've been, number of Tanzanians in higher learning institutions is very low compared to our neighbors, Kenya, or countries like Nigeria. And in this regard, I've had the opportunity to visit different universities. In the last 1 year, I've visited Edinburgh University. With the support of William, I visited Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine, visited Harper Adams University, visited London School of Economics, visited Imperial College, Oxford University, Heriot-Watt University, and SOAS. And all these meetings, all these from these visits, there's been considerable interest in collaborating with counterpart universities in Tanzania in many areas, including research, vocational training, and innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, the past year has also seen our active engagement with the diaspora, where the High Commission has encouraged their continued participation and contribution to Tanzania's economic development. Of course, they should not, however, preclude or influence their efforts to access and make full use of the many opportunities readily available to them in the UK. We just encourage them, especially to use their experience, expertise, to contribute to Tanzania beyond remittance, because I know many governments, they focus more on remittance, but for us, I think there are more to benefit from expertise, knowledge, even more than remittance. And after all, in my view, remittance is a short-term thing because the first generation diaspora, they are the one who have connections with their family members back home, whom they send money. But the second generation who were born here, studied here, working here, they don't have those links with their families. So this kind of diaspora, our focus is to encourage them to bring their skills, their expertise, take advantage of opportunities that are available in the country for a win-win cooperation. We are very optimistic that the future is bright and opportunities for mutually beneficial collaborations are infinite. With the change of guard here in the UK, as you know, we had the election here and new government. We see many opportunities for cooperation. And we are very happy that the UK government, the FCDO, has initiated a global impact review to examine the validity and impact of UK's foreign policy. And Tanzania, we are happy that has been among the few countries that have been asked to participate in the review process. And different stakeholders, including the government entities, the private sector, academia, and civil society, have given their opinion to FCDO. In the light of this, the future seems bright, and we look forward to continuing to collaborate with the UK for a mutual benefit. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before I wind up, let me brief you that this year we intend, no, next year actually, in April, we intend to have a commemoration of the 61st anniversary of the union between Tanzania and Zanzibar. We will have an event on 26th of April here in London. The day will also feature the first UK-Tanzania Education Conference, which we expect to hold on the grounds of SOAS and bring together current students and alumni who benefited from education in the UK. And concurrently, we expect to run 2 other events, including a real estate expo and a career fair, targeting the diaspora and students in the UK to invest and have a vested interest in returning home. So I look forward to seeing you all in London in April. Again, Paul, thank you so much for the invitation to this event, and I wish you all fruitful deliberations. Asante sana.
Asante sana ndugu Mbelwa Kairuki, High Commissioner. Thank you so much for giving us such a detailed and a very positive picture, really, of not only what has been done over this last year, it's been extremely busy, great accomplishments for which congratulations to you and to the High Commission and your colleagues, but also great prospects ahead for the relationship, and very encouraging to see more and more on the issue of trade, but also in terms of next generations and also in terms of the diaspora and that wider community. So really lovely to hear all of those. I don't know how much time you have, whether you need to. I know you told me just prior to this meeting you need to excuse yourself because you have to attend something due to someone passing away, which I understand. So if you need to run, that's okay. But we did actually have just one quick question from William, who you were in Liverpool with. Whether you have a minute to answer that or you'd be able to comment. He's interested to know a rough breakdown of the 200 million imports from Tanzania in terms of the agricultural products value, that sort of question. Do you have any more detailed inputs you could provide at this stage?
Yeah, at least I know 60% of the imports were coming from agro products, and then the remaining was minerals and other resources.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. Paul, could I ask a quick question, please? So fantastic to hear about the UK Tanzania Education Conference. I wondered if there's any more information about it yet, or if not, when it will be available.
The information about this conference will be availed by end of this month. We are just finalizing details with the SOAS University, and then we will make announcement. I'll make sure that Paul gets the information and share with the members.
Thank you. That would be fantastic. And secondly, I wondered if you had any more plans to come to Hackney Street Market. I was so upset to miss you last time.
Definitely, I will be back to Hackney Street Market. It was a pleasure visiting the market and see firsthand the opportunities that are there and how demand of different products that are available in Tanzania could be brought to the UK, to Hackney Market and the other market.
Thank you.
So thanks again, Mbelwa Kairuki, High Commissioner. And I also wanted to add, we have a comment from Anasia Maleko, who is a Reading University alumni and would like to participate in the event in April. So she's currently in Dodoma in Tanzania. I think it would be great once you have that information, as you said to Janet, if you can share it, we will do our best to share it amongst our membership and also our wider networks.
Sure, we will share that.
Many thanks indeed. And look forward to a continued relationship. It's wonderful to hear this great update from you. Unfortunately, we don't have the High Commissioner Marianne Young, the new High Commissioner to Tanzania, the UK High Commissioner to Tanzania, present, but she has very kindly given a video, which I'm pleased you're bringing that up, Janet.
Yes, can you see that okay?
Yes, so we'll hear from Marianne Young now.
Okay, I apologize in advance that it's not very loud, but I've got it on maximum volume, so hopefully you can hear.
Okay.
It gets a bit louder.
Members of the Britain and Tanzania Society and Tanzania Development Trust, distinguished guests and friends, it's my great pleasure to join you today, even if virtually, provide an update on the continued strength of the UK-Tanzania partnership. I'm now in my third month as the new British High Commissioner to the United Republic of Tanzania, and it's been a busy start. I was able to hit the ground running and meet Her Excellency President Samia on my second day in country to reaffirm our shared commitment to strengthen and deepen our partnership. At the end of my first month, I was able to take our royal visitor, the Duchess of Edinburgh, to meet both President Samia in Dar and President Mwinyi in Zanzibar during her 5-day visit to Tanzania, which also included 2 days in Arusha. This visit helped underscore the breadth of the ongoing collaboration between the UK and Tanzania across many areas, including health, agriculture, and women's empowerment. Our high-level links were further boosted by a series of senior engagements at the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, CHOGM, in Samoa last month in October, when Tanzanian Foreign Minister Kombo met with his British counterpart, David Lammy, and Prime Minister Keir Starmer, as well as His Royal Highness the King. In addition to these important bilateral engagements, we've made significant strides across many areas of our partnership work, and I wanted to highlight some of those with you today. On the commercial side, the expansion of our economic partnership culminated in the signing of our Mutual Prosperity Partnership in April. This initiative aims to unlock UK government-backed investment worth £1 billion into Tanzania. This will help drive job creation, boost trade, and enhance opportunities for Tanzanian small and medium-sized enterprises. We're also expanding our partnership work on clean energy, clean cooking, and waste management with a £9 million support programme under development, and that's set to increase to £30 million over the next few years to align with Tanzania's Vision 2050 and President Samia's priority policy aims. On the education side, the UK remains a committed partner with our flagship £85 million Shilibora programme, and that's positively impacted over 4 million children, improving teacher training and enabling more marginalised children to go to school, and that includes girls and those living with a disability. These efforts are pivotal in ensuring equitable access to quality education for all, a real bedrock of our development support and partnership here. On health, we also continue to work closely with Tanzania through our bilateral health systems work. Last year, UK and Tanzania signed a new memorandum of understanding that strengthens our collaboration on mutual health priorities, including health system strengthening, global health security, and joint investments in research and development. Through this agreement, we mobilised a £27 million package aimed at improving family planning and health system resilience. This has directly benefited over 1 million women and girls and will also ensure wider access to essential health services. We also maintain an active security and partnership set of programmes, with the UK working with Tanzanian agencies to combat human trafficking and tackle organised crime, and we're supporting ongoing judicial reforms in the criminal justice system. We're also active in defence. We're working with the Tanzanian People Defence Forces to strengthen our historic defence relationship. Alongside a number of military education courses, we're exploring ways of supporting Tanzania's exemplary contribution to peace support operations, as well as negotiating other in-country training offers, both on land and in the maritime domain. And this year also marked the opening of our new British High Commission office in Dodoma to help strengthen our presence in the capital and offer support to our regular engagements with senior officials there. The office was opened by our former Africa Minister, Andrew Mitchell, alongside the former Tanzanian Minister of Foreign Affairs, and has proven a real asset to our bilateral engagement. And no update on our bilateral relationship is complete without a mention of our extensive and growing people-to-people connections, which continue to flourish. An estimated 70,000 British nationals came to Tanzania last year, particularly in the tourism sector. And we continue to have a very vibrant, more than 100,000 Tanzanians in the diaspora in the UK, both of which stand as clear testaments to our strong links. And these grow year on year, given our ongoing cultural and education programmes, and that includes our scholarship schemes, which have now produced over 800 Commonwealth and 300 Chevening scholars to date, and bear further testament to the deep bonds between our nations. As we look to the future, our work remains focused on supporting Tanzania's Vision 2050 for sustainable and inclusive development, whether through our investments in the areas I've outlined, including health, education, climate resilience, and new areas like digital infrastructure. The UK remains a steadfast partner in Tanzania's prosperity journey. Thank you all for this opportunity to update you on the progress of our partnership. I wish you a successful and productive annual general meeting, and I'm very sorry not to have been with you all. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing that, Janet. And that was, again, a similarly positive outlook on the relationship between Britain and Tanzania, particularly that emphasis, again, as we also heard from Mbelwa Kairuki, on trade and investment, and also renewal of support on issues around education and health and so on, but a whole raft of other areas of support. And good to see that the UK has a presence now in Dodoma as well as in Dar es Salaam. It's a shame that Marianne couldn't join us, but as you saw in the video, she did pass her greetings and has very kindly be able to put forward that video for us. So that's great to see. I'd now like to move on to the next phase, which is, as ever, we need to, of course, mention those who and think of those who have passed away, and I want to particularly reflect on, of course, the passing of Ali Hassan Mwinyi, as Mbelwa Kairuki has also already mentioned, the former president of Tanzania from 1985 and to 1995, who passed away in February of this year at the ripe age of 98. Will of course be remembered for his economic reforms and his considerable contributions to Tanzania's development, as well as being, of course, our president. We also remember Edward Lowassa, who died early this year, the former Prime Minister of Tanzania. We remember Yusuf Manji, prominent businessman, died in June, and we also remember Marianne Aisha, the wife of David Aisha, who died in April at the age of 84. There will be others, of course. It's inevitable that these things happen as we go through the year. I now would like to do a sort of quick update myself. Those of you who have seen the report that I shared will already have got a sense of this already, but I just want to give a quick synopsis of the year. My third year as chair, having taken over as chair in late 2021. As Mbelwa Kairuki mentioned earlier, it's for me it was absolutely wonderful that this year saw the 60th anniversary celebrations, both the 60th year of independence, but also 60th years of Tanzania's diplomatic relations with the UK. So it was great to see the celebrations happen on both sides in Dar in Tanzania, and also, of course, here in London. And we were delighted to be able to work together with the Tanzanian High Commission as a society to support that event financially, and some of you on this call also supported individually, which was very gratefully received. So we had a great night, and we will look forward to events like that in the future. And it was good to hear Mbelwa Kairuki's mention of more in April, and we will also talk about what we've got planned as well. So I wanted to reflect that was, I think, a really pivotal moment, and it was good to have so many people present in person after the quieter years of COVID. I think Janet will touch on Tanzania Development Trust, and we'll hear a little bit more about that in a while. But it's, TDT has had a very yet again another productive year in terms of its program of activities that are in the annual report. We've also had, as ever, we've put together Tanzanian Affairs, and that under the editorship of Ben, who's unfortunately unable to come today, Ben Taylor. We've continued to drive that forward, and of course also our newsletter edited by Jennifer Sharp. We always busy as an executive committee. I particularly want to thank our treasurer, Jeremy, on the call here, Jeremy Lefroy, our minutes secretary, David Gibbons, our vice chair, of course, Godlisten Palanjo, our secretary, Charlotte Palanjo, as well as all of our executive committee, for their ongoing support to keeping BTS running. I think the other thing I'd like to mention about events we had, apart from the April event, we had a great seminar in Birmingham led by Andrew Coulson, our vice president, on rethinking Tanzania and its constitution ahead of the 2025 elections, and we are in discussions about doing something similar in the coming year. And that was a great discussion. And we also then had a webinar on business and biodiversity, how Tanzania can become a nature positive economy. Again, created lots of interesting discussion. We had a keynote speech from the Assistant Secretary General of the United Nations of the UN Environment Programme, Elizabeth Mrema, very distinguished Tanzanian professional environment specialist. So with that and the Union Day, I think we've had a good run of events this year, and I look forward to more in future. Just to touch on the newsletter, I know Jennifer is here, so thank you, Jennifer, for all of your engagement on that. We continue to need and want stories, so please do provide them to Jennifer and I. They're great. They're shared by us. They give nuance and spark and interest about very individual stories that relate to BTS and TDT. So please do keep sending those on, whether they are memoirs from former lives, if you like, in times gone by, or whether they are more youthful things, music releases, new books. It's all great to hear all of that sort of thing. Obviously, we also hear and gather a lot of that information through our journal, through Tanzania Affairs. So it's been a good productive year, I think, and for the society and across a sort of range of both more intellectual topics as well as lighter issues. If there are any questions or clarifications people would like about my report around what we've done this year, please do flag them in the chat before I turn to TDT. There's something from Steve. I think that we'll come to that, Janet, perhaps in a minute, from Steve Baines. Good, thanks a lot. Let's go over now to hear from Janet and from the Tanzania Development Trust, and a synopsis of the TDT annual report. Over to you, please, Janet.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you everyone for coming. So I'm hoping that people have had a chance to see the annual report. I put a link in the chat. It's on our website and it's been circulated. So I just want to bring out a few key things, and then if people have questions, please do put them in the chat and we'll try and answer them. There's also several of the committee here who can also answer things, and I'm hoping some of our local reps as well. And you will also hear from some of them in a minute. So I think people know about our background, so I won't go on to that. We're all volunteers, so every pound donated goes directly to projects in Tanzania. And we've been going, as you know, almost 50 years, so we have developed over that time really strong links and expertise. We have 3 priorities. The first one is water, and we will be having our annual campaign starting on the 3rd of December. Thank you to everyone who contributed last year. We raised enough for 17 boreholes, and we aim to replicate that this year. Our second priority is education, which is particularly girls' hostels, so that girls don't have to walk for up to 4 hours a day to and from school at great risk, and this leads to the huge disadvantages in their educational outcomes. We also have the supporting Tumaini Open School. This is a school in Tabora. You'll hear more about it in a moment, and it's for girls that have been excluded because of pregnancy. So for young mothers, giving them a chance to get back into education. And you can see some of the here really inspiring work led by our local rep, Ezekiel Kasanga. I can see Tony's here, so thank you for all of your support with that, Tony. And then our third priority is income generating projects. So generally really small projects that can have an absolutely massive impact. So really allowing people to bring themselves out and their families out of poverty by relatively small amounts of money. So this could be sustainable agriculture, tailoring projects, vocational training in welding, etc. And then we have a ongoing project, which is an integrated village development in Singida, and that's in collaboration with UKAID. And I think David is here, so if people have any questions around that, then that would be great. And I'll also put a link to more details shortly. So we try and work together with other groups as much as we can. We only work in certain areas of Tanzania, which are generally the ones that are a lot less well served by NGOs. So places like Kigoma, Kagera, Mara, Tabora, Singida, Simiyu, Mtwara, Shinyanga, Lindi, Rukwa. I think that's most of them. So we don't work in Dar es Salaam, Arusha, Zanzibar, where there are a lot of other NGOs operating. But for people working in the areas where we operate, we're very keen to collaborate where we can. So another ongoing project that we have is for vocational training for deaf students in Dodoma. That's going really well. You'll hear it in a moment from Patrick, our local rep there. And we're hoping to start a collaboration with Tools for Self-Reliance to supply tools and training and so on that will be based in Dodoma but operate countrywide. So that's very exciting. Our local partner in Kigoma is doing amazing work on sustainable agriculture. You'll hear a bit more on that in a moment. So there's more information on our website, and we had a good year. So the highest income we've ever had, in fact, largely thanks to people like Sheila, our fundraising trustee, who's been absolutely amazing. But also to everyone here who's helped by donating. I know a lot of you have. So this is what we achieved last year, 44 projects. So as you can see, water was a large chunk of that, and then education. So, we're aiming to grow over the next few years. We're always looking for people to get involved, particularly to help with projects or fundraising or social media and so on. So if you're interested at all in getting involved or learning more, please do get in touch. Money goes a long way in Tanzania, particularly as we have no running costs, no staff costs, etc. So, for £1,500, we're setting up a rope pump and borehole. So it makes a huge difference. Why Tanzania? Still, there's huge amounts of poverty, particularly in the rural area. We've still got thousands of students getting water from filthy ponds like this. So please help us to support that. And if you want to get in touch, my email's there. I'll also put it in the chat. I think most of you probably know it. We're also on lots of social media. So, and thank you to some of the many organisations that have helped us this year. So I'm happy to answer any questions if you want to put them in the chat. But while you're doing that, I want to show this film, which is hearing directly from some of our local reps.
My name is Benedicto, the CEO of Mboniamjala Group. We have been working tirelessly to improve the lives of the community in rural Tanzania, especially in Kigoma. And I'm very delighted to share with you our success and achievement, which we have registered in 2023 and 2024, the season that has been of a wonderful impact to the community. We have improved agriculture by 150% from the previous by training and supporting farmers in improved and sustainable farming, whereby more than 26,000 farmers have benefited with this scheme, improving the income and the food security. We have also planted 206,000 trees in Kasulu Rural, and this has been done in collaboration between school institutions, which means government institutions, and individual farmers, all of them making huge, like these trees planted. And these trees are very important on our environment, especially sinking carbon from the atmosphere. As well, we have been making biochar, which as well is intended to improve the soil, at the same time capture the carbon from the atmosphere, sink it into the ground. And this has been shown a great massive impact in improving yields on farms, which have used the biochar. And more than 431 tons have been made with farmers through 2023 and 2024. And also, we have been struggling to provide water to institutions, especially schools, dispensaries, and the public areas where community accessing water. In the current situation in which we are experiencing climate change affecting the water resources, we have been drilling the boreholes and install rope and pump in order to enable the community access clean and safe water for domestic and farming purposes. So far, we have done 148 boreholes in Kigoma Rural. Just in 1 year, we have made 38 boreholes. That means from July 2023 to June 2024. These boreholes are providing water to many people, by which every borehole provides water to 400 people. This means the impact which have gained is to reduce the time being used by the community to collect water, and that time being used in other production actions. Also, under this success, we would like to thank all the donors who have been donating to our projects, especially Big Give. You have been supporting us a lot in borehole works, which of course we are seeing the impact directly in the community. We would like you to ask more donors to come in and join us to bring more services to our poor families, poor community, who are living in a countryside places unsupportedly. So We are happy, we thank you, and we welcome you to join us in this mission to doubling the impact. Thank you.
Ezekiel Kasanga, Director of Tumaini Model Open School. Tumaini Model Open School is an alternative education pathway center based here in Tabora, Tanzania. This school is a special school for young mothers because it is creating a second chance for the young mothers who are outside of school and for one or another reason cannot return to their former schools. Most of the factor behind their failure to return to their former schools is what we call stigma, and the other reasons like poverty. So Tumaini is creating a second chance. And again, Tumaini is a stigma-free kind of education center, whereby we have created a very welcoming environment that supports traumatized young mothers to feel at home and to regain their self-esteem and courage to continue their education. So Tumaini is providing secondary education. That means we are teaching all secondary subjects, both arts and science. And in addition to that, we are also providing vocational training, whereby we do impart vocational skills to these young mothers. And the reason behind offering that kind of vocational training is the fact that these are the young mothers, are the parents already. They have the responsibility of caring their babies. And having vocational skills means we capacitate them to become self-reliant after schools. That means once they finish their secondary education here, and again, when they are at the transition of moving to other training or to high school, means they can engage themselves into different income generating activities using the skills they have acquired from Tumaini, and in that way they can sustain themselves and their babies. Thank you very much.
Is Evelyn Leonard, Managing Director of Hope of the Community Foundation based in Kigoma region, Tanzania. We are implementing water source projects funded by Tanzania Development Trust from the UK. We are constructing water sources, specifically springs, to ensure that community members can access clean and safe water. As you can see, our workers are on site constructing these water sources to guarantee that our community has access to clean and safe water. Before the construction of these water sources, there were activities taking place near the water source, such as washing clothes, animal moving around, which often led to human waste being found near the water source. And not only that, people were fetching water while stepping on the same water, and it was very dangerous for human health. Additionally, this project is crucial for humanity as it reduces outbreak of diseases caused by contaminated water. The community currently accesses clean and safe water due to improved infrastructure, and the human activities that used to occur near the water source no longer affect them. Therefore, access to clean and safe water has been ensured.
Hello, everyone. I am Patrick Yohana Matonya, the head of Matumbulu Deaf Vocational Training Center. We have 24 deaf students at Matumbulu, girls and boys. They are studying welding, sewing, carpentry, and irrigation. The irrigation, we are teaching them through the borehole funded by TDT last year. So we have sprinkled up some plots of garden, and we are giving them healthy food through giving them green vegetables from these gardens, as well as making small income after selling these vegetables to the villagers around the center. we also have received some funds from TDT for the computer app at Kigwe Deaf School here in Dodoma. We have produced them already, and we hope to deliver them this week. So we thank God that we are collaborating with TDT very well, and we still need the support so that we may reach huge number of deaf people here in Dodoma, as we may have a huge number in our pending list, but still having the limitation for the fund to accommodate more. We really need the collaboration from TDT so that we can go on, or we can go further, reaching the people with these needs. Thank you so much.
My name is Hamza Rajabu. I'm the local representative of Tanzania Development Trust, working at the Singida region. TDT has been the charity that is providing the fund that has transformed the lives of, I can say, 1,000 of community, particularly focusing in Singida where I'm working. Since I joined the TDT in 2019, I have implemented not less than 9 projects. All those projects has brought the big changes to the community of Singida region. Water project at Singida, also in Tuntuat, where we drilled the borehole, and the TDT supported with the solar system to supply that water. And that borehole is now also supporting access to water to over 60,000 people in TDT. You know, we are working as a volunteer under the TDT, but through their good coordination, good teaming, good motivation, but also the support of the fund, and also the link what they are giving to me, I can say that all of them has made me to change my lives.
Thank you. So I'm happy to take any questions. If I could just add that one of the, well, to thank again that everyone who has supported us this year. One of the other ways that we do raise money is by selling Christmas cards and Tinker Tinker cards. I know many of you have bought them already and they are available on our shop, but I will also share the link if people want to pay by check or any other way. So thank you very much. And I'm also happy to hear from any colleagues who are here. So Julian is saying that he would love to hear from David, who I think is still here. So if I make you, Paul, can you make David co-host? Then he can unmute. And if anyone has any other questions in the meantime, then please do let us know. Or if anyone wants to unmute, then we can make you co-host. This is the link to the Christmas cards.
I presume that's David's iPhone.
Yeah.
Oh, so shall I speak?
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm speaking to a phone. So thank you, Julian. I've sent you an updated report, the most recent sort of summary of what's happened at Mdaguyu, but just brief summary. Mdaguyu, you may know, is the village which is over 100 kilometers from Singida and is mainly non-tarred road. And the last 5 kilometers, as many of us have experienced, is actually inaccessible in the rainy season. Even by walking, you could find yourself waist high in water. Previous to this project, the nearest water in the dry season, so it's like abundance in the wet season, but in the dry season, you'd have to go 14 kilometers and maybe pay 1,500 shillings for water from pools. So one of the first things the school has, the joint project with UKNAID has done is to drill a borehole, 157 meters, which is successfully producing water to using the solar panels to the village. Rural electrification has just arrived at the village, and that's actually also going to be linked to that borehole. Health, the nearest dispensary, once you got past the 5 kilometers of getting to the main road, was another 31 kilometers away previous to the project. So we were building a dispensary and virtually finished it when cholera struck the area, and the village is sort of divided into a main village and a sub-village, the sub-village in particular. So they pressed the dispensary into service in October, and definitely saved lives. At one point, there were 40 people, 40 cholera patients. I visited it about 2 weeks ago, and there were 3 patients left. They're now finishing the producing or putting in the link to the connection to the borehole and the toilets. Education, it's a primary school which had 6 classrooms that really needed 8, and they were in very poor state of repair, poor attendance by students, and difficulties in retaining teachers. So the project, first of all, put in a kitchen, and the parents are providing food every day. We've built 2 classrooms, and the next project is teachers' accommodation. So that will take it to the end of the 3rd year, and we hope there's more challenges with the school and maybe income-generating projects. And we're hoping we can renew this with UKAID, but it's definitely making a difference. And we just had to thank Hamza for his amazing work, because it's difficult to access this village. It takes time and a lot of perseverance, really, to complete and to see things through. So thank you.
Thank you, David. I've put the document, the update in the chat, and also a link to the project on our website. And if people have got any further questions, then please do either write them in the chat or get in touch. Does anyone else have any other comments or questions on the projects, or want to unmute and speak? If so, just write in the chat and we'll unmute you.
I think we don't have any immediate comments, but if there are, we can hear a little bit later, perhaps. Janet and all the TDT trustees and executive of TDT and all the volunteers, project officers, etc. This is really wonderful to see, and it's great to see these videos which bring so much of it to life from the representatives in the different areas. So really thank you for all of your hard efforts. Please keep them up, and members, please continue to support, as I know you do, TDT. It's as a charity that's punching well above its weight, and we have a great reputation for doing so. So please do continue to offer that support in the various ways, not least with the Christmas cards. So thanks for mentioning that, Janet. I will now move on to last couple of things on the sort of more general agenda before we go into the formal AGM. Ben Taylor is unable to come today. He sends his apologies. I just wanted to give a snapshot of Tanzanian affairs beyond what I've already said. So we've got a team of contributors and editors producing 3 issues of the journal every year. That is something we've now in discussion with Jennifer from the point of view of the newsletter, and Ben from the point of view of the journal of TA. We've agreed to move those instead of from January, May, and September to February, June, and October. We had an executive committee to affirm that recently, and the reason is ultimately that both the newsletter and the TA, the contributors are putting those inputs inevitably together in holidays. So Christmas holiday, half term, summer holiday, Whitsun and the summer holiday, which has two impacts. One is it's quite hard to get contributions because people generally are away. And two, it's obviously a lot of people's time when people have families and so on and other commitments. So we've just shifted the whole thing forward. So you'll have noticed that there's a delay in your those of you that receive the Tanzanian Affairs and newsletter by post because of that. We've moved the whole thing back by a month, and thereafter we will continue now in instead of January, May, September, we will now do February, June, and October. So thanks for your patience with this time round as we've moved it forward. 2024 has seen quite a mix from what we've reported on in TA in terms of the political, economic, and social developments. Obviously, we've seen some concerns arising from the president's commitment to democratic norms. There's been various challenges. Then we've had some discussions around that with one of our events, as well as through TA, over issues like, for example, responses to criticism of a DP World contract in terms of responses to the opposition party's activities. There's also been various reshuffles, leadership changes, and so on in the political landscape. So it's been quite dynamic, and we've reported throughout that through TA in our 3 editions of this last year. We've reported on a good strong growth in terms of economically, tourism rebounding very significantly, with now 1.8 million visitors going to Tanzania, which is huge. Agriculture, which we heard about from the 2 high commissioners, trade and investment increasing. So we've reported on all these and all other issues like the Mpox outbreak, on education reforms, on the Paralympics, and the first Tanzania having its first wheelchair racer representative. So throughout, what we've tried to do with TA is endeavor to maintain our very strong commitment to objectivity, to the balance, to ultimately to truth, and really a snapshot of what's going on. And we report the facts as best as we can. But also beyond these sort of news sections, we've also got the book reviews, and I really appreciate all of the contributors, Martin, others who give their time to this really important publication, which is read very widely right up to the highest levels in Tanzania and in the UK, and for all those really with an interest in Tanzania. So I think those of you will know, but we have the most latest editions always on our website. We also send them out to you, those of you that get them by post. But the past issues are available online, supported by Jacob on tzAffairs.org. So we've got the whole archive there, for those of you that don't know about it and would like to know more about Tanzanian affairs. So I just wanted to give that snapshot, and thanks to Ben also for that report. But we we'll hopefully hear again from Ben soon, and we look forward to new editions going forward and to continuing this vein. I don't have any further actions in terms of our sort of opening and discussion now, except one thing. I would like to flag up that next year is our 50th anniversary. 50th for BTS and 50th for TDT, and that's a really exciting moment for us. And so we're very, very keen to make sure that we do events next year that reflect that, both in terms of fundraising drives and events to support TDT, but also in terms of the society and reflecting some of those partnerships, whether that we've heard from the High Commissioners in terms of education, in terms of that side of things, but also reflecting the reports of the diaspora, reflecting issues around trade. And so there's really 2 things I'd like to say. One is that we will be doing a number of events. We will do something in London, because that's where we can gather the most people. We will also attempt to work with our Tanzanian chapter to develop something and do something in Dar es Salaam. We will liaise with the High Commissioners. We've heard from the Tanzanian High Commissioner, and we still have Karen Ureri on the line in terms of the events that they are planning next year, and we will, as we have done in previous years, we'll continue to coordinate and collaborate with them to make sure that we share and benefit from our events and perhaps coordinate on various events. I would also like to reiterate what has been proposed by some of you previously, that we have more regional events, whether that's in Edinburgh or down the southwest of England or wherever that might be. So what I really would like to say is these events take time. They're inevitably good fun, or they're very interesting, or both. But they do take time. They do take organization, whether they're live events or hybrid or online through the various webinars. It is a real opportunity for us to make the most of it this coming year. 50th anniversary is something to be proud of. And what I am saying is I would really like your support as members. So if you can chime in, not necessarily now, but have a think about what you would like to do in your community or amongst the institutions which you're associated with, please do let us know, Janet and I, and from the point of view of BTS and TDT, and see what we can do to work out those, and whether we can do a set of larger events, but also we can also nurture some smaller, well, not necessarily smaller, but regional 50th birthday celebration events. If anyone wants to chime in now, feel free by again putting a message in the chat, and if not, please consider it, keep it in the front of your mind, and come back to us soon, and then we can start to think about what that calendar looks like for 2025. Any questions or inputs at this point? Or Janet, would you like to add anything on that front either?
Yes, from a TDT perspective, we're certainly planning on doing something which will largely be around a celebration of our projects. Involving as many as possible of our local reps remotely, if not in person. We did do something similar for our 45th anniversary, which I think quite a lot of people came to in Reading. So we had a slideshow of different projects, an exhibition and videos and so on. And we also had some Tanzanian music, which was great. So something along that, which will be really showcasing the projects and hopefully raising some money for projects.
Thanks a lot, Janet. Great. Any inputs? Otherwise, thank you. I now would like to just go through the formal AGM, which shouldn't take too long, but we'll just go through a usual process. The first thing I'd like to do is get your approval of the minutes of the 48th BTS AGM. I mean, it was shared, I think at the time, it was certainly also recorded and put online and it still is online. But I also shared it a few hours ago. I'm sure you haven't had time to look at it, but are there any concerns, or is there anything anyone wants to flag, or any matters arising that you may have seen from from last year's AGM? Anything that people wanted to pick up on, or otherwise should we formally approve those? If there are any subsequent questions or queries or follow-ups that you'd like to make on those, just let us know. We can look into those later. Julian says, let's get 2 reps over. We'll help with fares, etc. Wonderful. That would be wonderful. Thank you, Julian and Anne. Thank you.
Thank you. That's so generous.
Thanks a lot, Julian, and that's fantastic. So on the minutes, I think what we'll do is we'll approve those. Thank you. I don't think there were any matters arising between now and then and now. So what we need to do formally now is we need to elect our officers and our committee members, which I will just go through. So we have the BTS Executive Committee, Ex officio, we've already we have the our new president as of today. We have Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete is now the BTS president as of today's AGM, and we welcome him. We have our vice presidents, two of whom I believe are on the call. That's Julian Marcus and Andrew Coulson. We also have another two vice presidents, David Burren and Professor Esther Mwai Campbell. So they are the ex officio elders of our society, and otherwise we have our officers. So in terms of BTS UK Executive Committee, we have myself as the chair. We have Godlisten Palanjo as the vice chair. We have an executive secretary in the name of Charlotte Palanjo. We have minute secretary David Gibbons. We have our honorary treasurer Jeremy Lefroy. We have the editor of Tanzanian Affairs, Ben Taylor, the editor of the newsletter, Jennifer Sharp. And we also have our members of the executive committee, and those are, and they include other TDT representatives, as we have that link constitutionally, of course, and representative TDT on the BTS committee. So we have Janet Chapman, we've got Aseri Katanga, we've got Sheila Farrell, we've got Peter Kaiser. We also have, though he's retiring from BTS committee this year, and we thank him for his long-standing support, but staying linked to TDT, that's Jonathan Pace. We also have Dr. Gideon Mlawa. We have Alpha Ngaila, and doing our website and all our communications work, keeping us up to date on the comms side and the social media side. We have Phil Double. So that's our whole governance, if you like, from the presidents, vice presidents, through to the executive, through to the members that are representative on the executive committee. As far as I understand it, all of those except for John are willing and able and keen to continue in their roles. So, but what we do need to do is put those names forward, put those roles forward, and put those names against them. And if there are others that want to come forward, then of course this is the opportunity to do so. I have mentioned in the past in a few other communications that given the sort of the workaround events with both in person, hybrid, and online, I would be keen to see another formal events officer join the executive, and I'm still keen to recruit for that person and would like that support. I don't have any volunteers as of today, but I wanted to flag that we are looking for that role, someone who can help cajole and join and manage and put together some of these events. I'm also keen to get a kind of publications officer, because there's a lot of work that goes into coordinating the publications of Tanzanian Affairs, not just around the writing and the editorial side, but actually just the whole printing process and everything else to support in those periods. So if you are willing and able to volunteer either today, put your hand up, or otherwise, please let me or other executive committee members know as soon as possible. We would be very grateful for that additional support as executive, and it will help us out no end. So I will move now to the question of appointments, and after that we'll move on to annual reports, exam and accounts. But in terms of officers, first of all, with the chair, so I've been chair now. This will be my third year. I am perfectly willing to continue to do so, but I will need a proposer, and I will need a seconder. So over to you to jump in, or otherwise of other if there are others who would like to be chair, I'm very happy to hear from you.
I propose you as chair, Paul.
And I'm very happy to second that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from my side, I'm grateful for that, Jeremy and God listen. Then I agree to continue to be chair for another, I think the terms of 3 years. So I'm happy to do that, and hopefully for a full 3 years. So thank you, and I look forward to continuing this role. We'll now look to the vice chair. Currently, God listen. God listen, I would very much be happy if you continued in that role, if you're willing to. So I would certainly propose you. Then I'm willing to second God listen's role as vice chair.
Yes, certainly.
Thanks, Jeremy. So that's confirmed then. Thank you, and that's great. Look forward to continuing to collaborate, God listen, in our work together. Which takes me to the executive secretary. God listen, is Charlotte on the call, or is she busy with the kids or other matters?
She's busy with other matters, with kids as well.
But as far as you know, she's willing to continue?
Yeah, I'm sure she's willing to continue.
Okay, so can I have a proposal for Charlotte's role as the executive secretary?
I can propose, David.
Yeah, I can second.
Thank you, David. Thanks, Janet. So that's Charlotte's role, executive secretary, confirmed. And the next officer is the minutes secretary, which is David. David, I understand you're willing for at least a year to continue the role. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Wonderful, thank you. So I would propose David as minutes secretary. Do I have a seconder?
Yes, I'll second.
Thank you, Sheila. Thanks very much. And now to the role of honorary treasurer. That is currently Jeremy Lefroy. Jeremy, I believe you're willing to continue.
Yes, Paul.
Fantastic. So do we have a proposer for Jeremy?
Yes.
I'm happy to propose Jeremy.
Thank you, William. And a second from Janet. Thanks. So that's confirmed. Thanks again, Jeremy, for your hard work. We have the editor of Tanzanian Affairs. He's not present today. He's had to go somewhere, but it's Ben Taylor, who's happy to continue as editor, a very valuable role, as we all know. I will propose Ben. Do I have a seconder?
Yes, I'll second.
Thank you, Sheila. So that's confirmed for Ben. And Jennifer, I think you're on the call. I think Jennifer's on the call, or she's not. She's just been called back for a minute. But I would propose Jennifer continue the role of editor of the BTS newsletter. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second Jennifer.
Thank you. Thanks. So that role is also confirmed. And I understand, although not all will be on the call, I believe that the members that I highlighted before, Janet, Sari, Sheila, Peter, Phil, Alpha, and Gideon, are also willing to confirm.
I don't know that Alpha is really involved in BTS now.
All right, so Alpha is not. That's fine. That's fine. Otherwise, I think everyone else is. Is that correct from everyone's understanding?
Yes.
Yes.
No, that John is retiring this year from that role, but not from the TDT role. Do I have, while I have you here near attention, any volunteers for either an events officer or a publications officer? it's not that hard. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it should be quite enjoyable. So if you can mull on it or let me know, please do. Because we do need that we do need those areas of extra support in the. Brian, did you have something to say? Anyone? Okay, well, let's keep that open, and please be aware that we do need that extra support. So if you can help, please let me know, even if it's in the future, or if you know someone that is interested in that kind of work, whether it's events management or helping with the publications, that would be appreciated. Okay, I think that's all of the executive committee side of things covered. Thanks very much for that efficient election of officers and committee members. I would like to now move to the BTS annual report. The annual report and the accounts have been circulated. I hope that everyone's had a chance to at least see. I gave a quick synopsis of the sort of the core areas that we've been through earlier today of our 48th annual report. The one thing I didn't touch on is the account. So perhaps Jeremy, you could just jump in and give a quick overview before we go to approval of those.
Yeah, thanks very much, Paul, and thanks for all the work that you do and the rest of the team. The accounts showed us a deficit of £784 this year. The main reason was that we had been saving up some funds for the event that was held for Mungano 60, and that cost, we made a contribution of £4,500, which we were able to do because of the saving up of that amount. But we still have, at the end of June, we still had just over £3,000 in reserves, which is just a bit below last year, but ahead of where we were 2 years ago. In terms of income, we've kept the subscriptions at £25 for single or joint membership for many, many years. It's still enough, together with the donations that we receive. That's donations which are for the society rather than for Tanzania Development Trust, which we pass on to TDT. It's still enough to pay for the basic costs. And my recommendation, which was approved by the committee, was that we continue to keep it at that, I think, extremely good value for money, given the 3 sets of publications a year, plus other events. The reason being that most of our members pay by standing order, and trying to get several hundred people to change their standing orders is a bit of a Herculean task, and it would be much easier if we kept it at that rate for as long as we can. Obviously, if, as many of you do, you're able to add a bit onto that as a donation for BTS, that's very welcome, and that helps to provide a bit of a cushion to us. On the expenditure side, the cost of the newsletter and TA has remained pretty constant at just over £5,000 a year for the 3 issues. I suspect we will begin to see a rise in that as these costs inevitably go up, but it has been around that figure for the last 3 or 4 years. I've mentioned already the event costs and the grants to TDT, which is just really a flow through from the amounts we receive. And the only other items that we have are membership, software and design, and bank charges. So very happy to take any questions. Thank you, Paul. Oh, sorry, 2 other things. Firstly, grateful thanks to Clive Ashton, FCA, who was the independent examiner on this, as well as on the TDT accounts. And also thanks to my colleague, Pauline Ingle in my office, who helps me with the putting together the accounts. And the question from Roger online: are our subs gift aidable? Not to BTS, as Janet has responded, but for TDT they are. So if people have donations, it would be good if for TDT they send them straight to TDT. Apologies for the printer noise in the background. I think it's okay for the flow through money that we receive for TDT for the gift aid to be claimed by TDT on that. But for BTS specific donations, we're not a charity and therefore we can't claim gift aid.
Thank you very much, Jeremy, for that report and for the question around gift aid. And yeah, I think obviously if you have got a donation or you have within your network people who want to donate to TDT, it is much easier to do so directly. So that is the best thing to do. I would now like to say, I think we are, unless there are any questions, I hope that we can formally approve the BTS annual report and its accounts. These have been posted online. Thanks for Phil to doing that on our website. There's Britain and Tanzania Society.co.uk and then /annual-reports/ so that's it's up there. It's easy to find. Won't take you a few minutes just to find all the reports. The TDT reports are up there as well. They're also on the TDT website. So I hope we can approve as far as I can see, we can approve the BTS annual report and its accounts. And as Jeremy's pointed out, we've had those independently verified. So I will move now on, pass back to Janet now to take us through the approval of TDT annual report and its accounts. Over to you, please, Janet.
Thank you. So I've put the official TDT accounts and report in the chat. So this is the official one that we send to the Charity Commission. The one I talked through earlier is the nice pictures one that we put on the website. Brian, I don't know if you want to say anything about this from an accounting point of view.
Yes, thank you, Janet. Just to re-emphasize, it was a record year for income last year. There were a number of very generous individual donors, as well as a substantial legacy, which boosted our income together with Sheila's work on fundraising. The report Janet mentions is the new format that was agreed by the trustees in March. So rather than just reporting the figures, you will have seen that it is a narrative type of report in a fairly standard format for a charity that can be posted for the Charity Commission and gives some background. There's not as much detail as in previous figures that we've reported, but if there's any queries, do feel free to email me. And to reiterate that thank you to BTS, who've sent us something just over £6,000 during the year. And from the gift aid we've been able to claim, we've claimed around £10,000. Plus there's various other bits of gift aid that come in from online platforms separately. So thank you to all the donors, and it's always most efficient, although more work for me, if you do donate direct to the bank account rather than indirectly through other platforms, because you avoid such things as credit card fees. Not to say that if that's your preferred way of paying money, we welcome it all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for all of your work. So yes, I put Brian's email address in the chat, and also if you do want to donate, the easiest way or the most efficient way is the bank details, which are on our website, but I've also put them in the chat. Thank you.
Thanks, Janet, and thanks, Brian, for that. update. So I think we can approve the TDT annual report and its accounts, unless there's any issues raised by anyone. As far as I'm concerned, those are now formally approved. Thank you all. I also just wanted to thank our independent examiner this year, Clive Ashton, who's done an excellent job on both independently reviewing BTS accounts as well as TDT. So our great thanks to him. We are now, I believe, is there any?
Yes, we need to appoint the examiner for next year.
Yes, we do. Thank you. Yes, go. Do you have a?
Yeah, Brian, do you want to say something?
Oh, for TDT, yes. I've not twisted his arm, but I have Andrew Grimditch is the name of the gentleman, the accountant, who's offered to do the accounts next year. Someone I know indirectly. Some of you may remember a former late member of BTS, Brian Atkins. Andrew is the son-in-law of Brian, and has connections through his wife, administering Brian's funds for Bagheera Blind School, in particular in Dodoma, and other charitable work. So he is fairly familiar with charity work in Tanzania, and I'm looking forward to working with him on next year's accounts, assuming you agree to appoint him.
Fantastic.
It's fine by me, thank you. And Jeremy, did you want to jump in?
Thanks. I haven't yet asked whether Clive will be prepared to do the BTS accounts for next year. I'm sure he would. So if that's okay, then I can approach him. It's obviously the TDT accounts are a very substantial undertaking, i.e. the BTS ones have far fewer transactions.
Yeah, indeed. That's fine. Thanks a lot, Jeremy. Okay, so with that, unless there's any other business, we have concluded for the day. But I got a hand up there. It's from Andrew. Do you have something?
Yes, I do have something. On the chat, there's a thing from Jackie Morgan, which is about the Redditch One World link, which is an amazing link. It's actually gone on all this time. And she's asking if we could, they'll be celebrating 40 years of a twinning link between the council in Redditch and the council in Mtwara. And of course, Mtwara has changed enormously over that period of time. So it's been a very interesting link. Now, she's asking if we could combine, which at very least we could advertise it, couldn't we? So can we, broadly speaking, agree to that?
Yes, absolutely. And I think, as I said earlier, I think we want to have a range of local events over the course of 2025. So if we can do something in and around Redditch, Birmingham area, then let's go for it. It's not a huge leap from me either in the North Cotswolds, so be happy to engage. So thanks, Jackie, and thank you. Sorry that I'd missed that in the chat earlier, Jackie, and thanks, Andrew, for flagging it up. That would be great to do something. Let's stay in touch on that.
Can I flag up one other thing, which is that it's lovely to see Danny Masandubi's taking part in this, and he also contributed to the chat, although I don't quite understand what actually that contribution means or whether it has long-term relevance. But just to see Danny and thereby have a link with somebody who was the treasurer of the Britain Tanzania Society here in the UK and then emigrated back to Tanzania and has been involved in the Tanzanian side of BTS ever since. So it's really nice to see Danny here.
Absolutely. We've got a number of colleagues from Tanzania on this call, including Edwin Kasanga, I believe, is or was on the call earlier, also in the Tanzanian chapter. which we're not covering today in terms of the AGM because that's a separate chapter, but we are obviously in touch. I think there's nothing further to add, but we have a few minutes left, so if others, as Andrew has done, if others would like to jump in, contribute, add any other points that we may have missed, or just to reflect on things that we may have touched on earlier, but that you didn't speak to at the time. Now's the time. We've got a few minutes left before we close.
Paul, could you unmute Jackie Morgan? Because she tried, I could see their mouths opening, and they were trying to speak and say something about the Mtwara link.
Everybody should be able to unmute now.
You can just unmute yourself, I think.
Yes. You've unmuted.
We've managed. Hang on. We have to use a separate mic for this.
No problem.
Yes. Well, it's lovely to be part of the AGM, which we haven't managed for several years. And yes, just to say, probably June, July, sometime around then, we're planning to celebrate our 40 years of ongoing linking with Mtwara. And yes, we have seen amazing changes in Mtwara. We went for a visit last year in the summer, took a group, and we were so well looked after. But some of the amazing changes we noticed, of course, were solar lights everywhere. We travelled partly in the dark, and to see all these lights shining everywhere was just so amazing, all solar powered.
There's a lot of tarmac roads as well now.
Yeah. The other thing we noticed, we had a lovely visit to the port, the harbour, and saw a lot of the exports going out, one of which, surprisingly enough, was coal. And when we asked where the coal, it was coming from the open cast mines in southern Tanzania. When we asked where it was going to, Pakistan, Poland. You won't believe where that coal is going.
Yeah. There was a whole procession of lorries. We're at a cafe by the main road from the Southwest Highlands, and there were 2 or 3 lorries coming through every 10 minutes. It's amazing.
Yes. I think perhaps one of the things we did miss were the carvers. We didn't see any carving shops at work at all. I think they've all probably migrated to Dar es Salaam, where they can sell their goodies. Wonderful carvings. So thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Thanks very much for that contribution. I really appreciate it. Anyone else who'd like to chime in? You're very welcome. Feel free to jump in these closing minutes of AOB. Well, I think we've heard from a lot of people today. I would like to thank all of you for your continued commitment to the Britain Tanzania Society. I want to thank again President Kikwete for agreeing to be our new BTS president, which is a great thing and a continuation of our tradition of having former presidents as the as BTS presidents. I want to thank our high commissioners that we heard from today in person and via video link, Marianne Young and Mbelwa Kairuki, and representatives from the high commissioners that dialed in today. I want to also thank the executive committees of both BTS and TDT for the tireless efforts and for all of those who put the efforts in from Tanzania to make us understand, I think, very effectively what TDT is doing in the field and the enormous impact it has. So thank you, all of you. Keep up the great work, and let's continue to develop this partnership. Please be in touch with us in terms of events, as we've just heard from Jackie, please get in touch with us in terms of whether you would like to do things in your regions, in your areas, and whether you would like to be involved in larger events in London and Dar es Salaam over the course of 2025, and events related to celebrating TDT and its projects. So thanks, Janet, in particular, for co-hosting this with me. And I think we can leave it at that.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Thank you to everyone who supported us this year. And please do buy your cards and support us in the Big Give if you can. Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.